Hey now, I'm upstairs because we're at the autograph analysis of Derek Jeter. And I know my Hall of Famers pretty well, but is there anyone since Mantle that's been more forged in the baseball arena? I'm not talking Jordan, but in the baseball arena more than Derek Jeter? I don't know, maybe Trout, but I think people have stopped on Trout lately. I think Derek Jeter is probably one of the most forged, if not the most forged autograph since Mickey Mantle passed away. That's going to be my first takeaway. Second takeaway before we start Derek Jeter is I'm upstairs because I put like an hour and a half, 2 hours of research in this. You don't know that. The reason is Derek Jeter's autograph. It's one of those that like people like me and I'm sure authenticators, you see so much of this, you sort of know what it looks like. I mean, it's very tough to detail what it looks like. You just kind of know what he looks like. So I had to spend a lot of time putting what I know into words and thoughts. So I even took notes for myself, which I never do. Usually I just look at an autograph, more the vintage players. But Derek Jeter's autograph, let's say, has evolved a lot. And we'll show that in a second, since when he started to today. So if you're looking for a Derek Jeter autograph, unless you're getting it in person, I highly recommend either getting one to make sure it's Steiner certified. He was an official, authentic Steiner certified guy for a very long time, or he's currently with Major League Baseball. Again, we'll get to all this later in the video. So one of those two, that's the gold standard if you're going to buy a Jeter and not get it in person. As for getting him in person, he's gettable if you can get to him. I'm going to share my screen. I want to show some pictures. So, I mean, and I say if you can get to him. So this is me and Derek Jeter last year at the National. He was at the National with Arena Club. There were maybe 20 people in line. He just would not sign. He would not sign. It pissed me off. I had a photo with him and my son where I got his autograph, a couple of his autographs back in like 2008. And I asked him if he would sign it. And he's like, I can't. I found out later some people were able to corner him as he exited, and he did sign. He probably signed 4 or 5 autographs at the National for outsiders. He did sign some for like influencers, of course, influencers. They got their autographs, but I did not get my autograph signed. So he's like, if you can see him on the street, I heard he's a good signer. He was a very good signer in the minors. Even for the level of fame he was a pretty good signer. The only public signing he ever did once he got like real big was once a year, the New York Yankees. They still do this. They have a Boys and Girls Club Day down in Tampa, and there's like a 60-minute to 90-minute autograph session. And he would sign there, and I heard stories about it. He was like a machine. He didn't even look up. He just took the autograph, sign. And his autograph, as we get into that, I know I'm talking it up a lot, but when we get into his autograph, you're going to see it looks like a machine. It's very methodical in the sense that he doesn't take a lot of time. It's not very clean autograph. But, I mean, his autograph varies. I mean, from a sit-down to a rushed autograph, there are some things that are consistent. There are some things that are not consistent about it. So, I mean, as a player, is he a Hall of Famer? Absolutely. I mean, is he arguably the second best player ever because he got one less vote than unanimous Hall of Famer Mariano Rivera? In my opinion, absolutely not. He's like the Craig Biggio's, the Paul Malters of the world. I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but if he wasn't a Yankee, I don't think he'd be as good as he would have finished as well as he had. And his autograph would be as valuable as it is. And finally, my favorite story about Derek Jeter is local to home here in Detroit. Detroit Hall of Famer Hal Newhouser was the one that originally discovered Derek Jeter in Kalamazoo. He was a scout for the Astros at the time. And the story goes that he told the Astros organization, who had the number 1 pick that year, I've never met a player worth $1 million, but if anyone's worth $1 million, it's this kid. Astros did not listen to him. They drafted number 1 overall pick, Phil Nevin. And the next day, Hal Newhouser quit. So, okay, that's about 5 minutes leading up to Derek Jeter. So without any further ado, let's dive into the autograph. Before we finish this, one last thing. One last thing. This is just my opinion. I could be wrong. There are people out there in New York, I'm sure, who know Jeter much better than I do. I'm just going to give you some tips and the tricks of the trade, so what to look for. So without any further ado now, really, we're going to go to the autograph analysis of Derek Jeter. So hit the like button if you have a chance. Let's go. So normally I start with the PSA database, but I'm not. I'm going to start off with this Derek Jeter autograph. This is the Derek Jeter autograph I got in person back in 2000, probably 2015, I want to say. Now, this autograph was signed almost same time as this autograph. And we'll get into the details of it later, but these are two very different autographs that were signed on the same day, as you can see. So, I mean, this, I don't even, the D goes into the E, this D breaks. So the only reason why I'm showing this very quickly here is just to prove a point that Derek Jeter's, I mean, you can see there's no hard R here. There's a hard R right here, right? So all I'm trying to prove is Derek Jeter's autograph varies a lot. So there's no one standard autograph. Again, these were signed on the exact same day, both of them right in front of me. They are 100% real. I'm not going to say authentic. They are real, signed right in front of me. But as we're going to see, as we start the PSA database, that not all Derek Jeter autographs look similar. I mean, I really think it depends on the situation here. So now let's dive into the PSA database. So this autograph, I don't know if it was a sit down or not, but this is what we want to see with the Derek Jeter autograph commonly. The D is a hard D drop right here, and it goes back up right here. Usually the D does not sweep down like this. This is an earlier autograph. And I say earlier, probably late 90s. And the bottom should be no lower than this. This, believe it or not, is the J in Jeter. And we'll get to that later. So again, and then the top, there's 4 big loops in Jeter's autograph. And again, all the forgers know this. This is not a secret that I'm giving away right here. And so they should all be relatively equal height. But besides that, if you look, the Jeter autograph is on a fairly level plane. I mean, you take all this out. I mean, let's look at this crappy autograph. I mean, believe it or not, this one's actually not so good, but it's on a fairly level plane. It doesn't bounce too much. Same thing with here. As bad as this is, this one actually does bounce. So, but I mean, we'll get to these autographs that are on a fairly level plane. So again, the E usually starts up over here for the Derek Jeter. The R used to be, looked like almost like an I, but it's sort of morphed into another loop like an E right here. Then he goes into the other E, which should mirror this E, and then to the K. So the K usually goes like up like this, and you can see that little E in here, right here. Sometimes it does, the E doesn't come up there. Sometimes it looks like an upside down heart. Sometimes he does a full E, but the E is in this. This is really part of the K, believe it or not, but is in there. And this comes into the J over here that flows backwards and down. This J should normally be the lowest point of his autograph. It should be the lowest point, not the D, should be the J. The D doesn't always, like I said, even loop out like that. So we talked about, sorry, not the J. This is the K. I keep saying the J. The K right here. So the K, you can see here, loops around. This is like the inside of a K if you were drawing a K right here. Then the K flows into the J, which is a background circle, usually back and just right cuts through that K right there, as you can see right here. So we talked about that. This is the lowest point of the autograph. Then we have a break. You know what I'm saying? He takes it off and he finishes the Jeter. Again, another one of these crazy E's. Then he does the T right here, which again is just a big loop into another. So right here, E right R. And this, believe it or not, is an R. I've seen the R look like an E, and I've seen the R look like a hard R, like it showed right here. See how it's a hard R right here? Where here is, you can see the E into the R. But again, it varies. So, I mean, you got to be really careful. This is why I don't recommend forgeries. This one's kind of tough to see. I mean, there's a lot of examples here. So, again, right here, the J is still the lowest point. The E goes into the R. This is an earlier one because the R looks like an I. It's not dotted I. So, like later, as we talked about, the R turns into like a flat out E right here. So, again, the K comes in here. There's a little loop right here. It's tough to see, which flows into the J right here around. Then we have the E to the T. And again, right here, the E and the R kind of loop together. And I've seen where he does the E and not the R. I've seen where he does the R right here and not the E. Like I said, he's consistently inconsistent, unfortunately. So again, right here, we talked about the D coming around. There's the E. There's the R. Looks like an I. Another E. There's the K. There's the loop right here, as we talked about, into the J. Now, this is rare. I guess this is an in-person autograph because of the fact that the J goes straight into the E, as you can see right here, and it's not very well formed. But again, see how the J's, all these 4 loops are all kind of even right here. The J still is the lowest point. And believe it or not, you sort of can see that plane right here. And again, this is another one where you see enough Derek Jeter autographs, you start to get kind of a feel of it as well. This, my guess, is a sit-down signing autograph of Derek Jeter. Probably through Steiner, even though I don't see a Steiner hologram on it, although it does say Steiner right here. So you can see right here, a nice J, nice D, the E. Now, by this point, the R in Derek is now almost like an E. It's not the I, the E. The K loops around into here, and it goes into the J and down. The E starts up high again. The T, and like this is sort of like an ER merged together right here. But it looks like a sit down to me. Again, I mean, how many times could we go into Derek Jeter? I just want to focus on some other ones. So, again, when we talk about these today, I want to make clear, I don't want to talk about his earlier autograph. His early autograph, like when he was in the minors and even in high school on the classic cards, are very different than this. Just be careful. I went by an individually signed Derek Jeter autograph. I mean, we'll get to them eventually. But again, let's go back to this. This looks like a nice autograph right here. You see how it's nice, fairly level plane. The tops are all level. You can see by far the lowest point of the J is right there. You can see the K into the E, into the J, loops around the E. The ER is not right there. So, but I mean, that looks like one of the nicer autographs. Again, I don't know if this is a sit down or not. I have the similar ball right here, signed the same ball, and it looks very different even than we were looking right here. So, but again, hard D, the hard down right here, up around loop. It's not the lowest point. The J is the lowest point. I mean, except for the ER at the end, believe it or not, Derek Jeter signs every letter of his autograph. So of his name, excuse me, in his autograph, which is nice, I guess. So, but again, just be so careful when you buy it. I mean, there's so many out there. He was a good signer, but I mean, I really think it's worth going through either Steiner or excuse me, Major League Baseball. But anyways, you see the E, and there's the loops right there. He loops around. Believe it or not, there's the K. There's the inside of the K into the J right here. There's the E. The T comes around right here. It's sort of like the E into the R, which when it does the R, it should be a hard R. You should see that point right there. Like again, right here. This one's signed from. You see that point right there. These are hard points in those Derek Jeter autographs. Hard point right here. Hard stop right there. You don't want to see anything rounded like that. Now, again, you say, oh, this is rounded. This is more, believe it or not, the E and sort of into the R. So, again, I think this is a little bit earlier of an autograph. God, this is a nice autograph right here. You see how it's on a nice level plane. I'm not going to get to every single detail. It's almost like all the loops are pretty much the same height, level plane. We talked about the hard stops and going around right here. And a Derek Jeter autograph, let me say this, the later ones today are spread out. They're long. They shouldn't be really condensed at all. That's one of the big no-nos when I look for a Derek Jeter autograph is see it condensed right here. This one's probably signed rush signature. The reason why I say that is like everything is connected. So usually when like it's not a nice sit-down signature, you're going to see like almost everything connected. The D isn't connected to everything, but everything else goes into one another. It's just a mumble jumble. But again, you see how it's on a nice plane right here. And again, this is easy to forge. I'm not going to pretend it's not because it is very easy to forge. That's why you have to be so careful. Okay, here we go. Earlier autograph of Derek Jeter. It's nicer, obviously. It's like a minor league autograph almost because you can see the R's like an I right now, the E and then the R right there, which is like almost like an I. Again, this is a nicer autograph. Again, I'm not going into all the details of it. You see how it's all on a flat plane. I really like that it's on a flat plane. The tops are all level. The J is the lowest point. The J goes into the E. We talked about that's possible when he's in a rush. I don't know. So again, this is an earlier autograph for Jeter. This is National Bank of Detroit, so this is definitely a earlier autograph of Derek Jeter, although it has some resemblance to current autographs of his. Early autograph. I mean, I don't want to get into all 43. We'll be here all day. These are the classic cards I was talking about earlier. Very different. These are authenticated on the back. They're all numbered. You would know it when you saw it. These, and like there's another one from Sun Country, I want to say it's called. Derek signed when he was in high school. He didn't go to college. And these command like almost $1,000 each. So again, another very early, very beautiful autograph of Derek Jeter. So again, this is probably a more common signer. Again, we talked about the J. You see how they're all level. It's on a level plane down here. The R, what's it called? It's not really an R. It doesn't have the hard points. But again, there's different Jeters. I mean, again, this looks like a sit-down signing. I mean, after a while, they all start to look the same. This is authenticated. Obviously, this is one of the short number ones after sit-down signing on a card, on a card, on a card. I mean, hopefully you're starting to get a feel of Derek Jeter's autograph. Again, it's very tough to get a feel very quickly. We talk about the hard R right here. You can see that really nice. So, I mean, hopefully you're getting an idea. Like I said, let's look at some ones that are not good. And again, Outer Safe, incredible, incredible, incredible. I really like Outer Safe. So again, this is one right here that I believe they ruled out. I mean, again, I can't say enough good things about Outer Safe. They are really good with their Derek Jeters. They are really good with their Derek Jeters. Out now, it's out. And the reason why I'm not surprised is number one is it looks very slowly drawn. I know it's tough to tell, but the E's are not similar. They're all over the place. This doesn't look like a loop. It looks very slowly drawn right here. Also, it bounces too much. You see how the E comes up and it comes down. The R they're trying to give it, it's not a hard R like we talked about. So believe it or not, I was searching it out in Safe, and most of them are good. And I think they really are good. So they do a good job on that. Like I said, if you're going to buy an autograph today, you're going to go through the Major League Baseball website. That's where all the official autographs are. I mean, they're not cheap, but you can see right here, they have a beautiful thing right here. Derek Jeter. If you're buying a Derek Jeter like ball that says Hall of Fame 2020, it came from here. He's got an exclusive thing with Major League Baseball that he only inscribes Hall of Fame 2020 on the Major League Baseball website. So if you're buying it through somewhere else with that inscription, you're overpaying because they're charging a markup. So, I mean, I'm just picking a baseball out of random here. So let's see what his autograph looks like today. Again, the hard D comes around. There's the E. There's the R. Looks like an E to me. And again, excuse me. Again, another E. It goes into the K. This is the loop of the K right here, the inside loop. Goes into the, it comes out, and there's the T. Again, the E is sort of blended in with the R, right? Just there's a lot of loops in there. I know, like the E's inside to the other E. I mean, but again, see how it's on a level plane right here? Again, this is a sit-down signing. See how the tops are all level right there? I mean, this is really what you want to look for. This is what I want to look for when I look for a Derek Jeter. So let's look at some bad ones on eBay. So this can be used for $154. I don't even know where to start. Number one is the T. It's too smushed. Number one, if you look for Derek Jeter. Number two, see that D right there? It comes up and through. It should never come up and through. It should come down and connect to the E. I mean, it should never. So it's just a mess. You know what I'm saying? It's not on a level field. It's not plain. The J, I don't know if that's the J or not, but it should end right there. It should never go all the way through. It's bad all around. So let's look at this one right here, $118. Again, I don't see every letter of Jeter except for, I mean, this lowest point right here is the K. I mean, it's just bad all around, obviously. So, I mean, it has different levels right here. I don't even know where to start with this. It's just a mess. So, but it has a hologram. Look at that. It has a hologram. So it must be good, right? No. This is one here. And I can see where people are bidding on it. It's got the GAI. So that's the first thing that scares me. But like with the things that I don't like about this Derek Jeter is, this is just me. A couple of things right here is the fact that the E, see, it goes into, I don't know what this is right here. So again, we talked about that he signs every name of his letter. And usually the R doesn't look like an R. So if that's the R, that doesn't look good. The J is bad. The T, he goes into the E and like, see how this is all inside right here? That doesn't look like an E. It doesn't look like an R. Usually this E that's inside it for the Jeter, the part is to the left right here, not to the right. This D comes down more than I would like to see as well. And I mean, it's just from the naked eye, I don't like it. It bounces a little more than I like. This D should be higher up. And usually the K doesn't loop all the way around like that, all the way around. So this is why you got to be important with Derek Jeter. To the naked eye, I can see why people are bidding on this. There's 14 bids. But I don't think it's good. I really don't think it's good. And just, even with the GAI alone. So this is that's a lot on Derek Jeter. That's 20 minutes on Derek Jeter. But I think Derek Jeter deserves 20 minutes. So hopefully you learned something. Like I said, I'm not an expert. Well, I know a lot in Derek Jeter, but there's people that know more than I do. This is just my 2 cents. So leave any comments if I missed something out. If someone knows something about a forgery of him, let me know. I know stuff about owl eyes and stuff like that. But we're going to move to Derek Jeter to Ban Johnson. So, but until then, as always, keep collecting.